So I wanted to show one way I've been using this Bastl Citadel module with the waveguard firmware to do drums is basically the way it works is it's generating triggers and or gates, and it's generating a CV sequence. So you don't have a lot of control over the CV sequence. You can either randomize it as it's going and then bring it back to the middle position to just keep looping and playing it, or you can flick this switch down, which will basically play the CV sequence once and then reverse it and play that. So kind of a fake 32-step sequence from actually a 16-step CV sequence. So you can modify these, you can play with them, it'll keep changing the pattern. But the problem is if you want to eventually go back to the same sequence, change it, and then go back to what you had before, there really is no way to do that because you can't recall the sequence unless you're generating on some outside module or whatever. And I think one of the cool things about this is that it's pretty self-contained. It has its own audio in and outs and effects and all that kind of stuff. So I didn't want to add a lot to it. So what I came up with was just using this super small 4MS pod case and adding in this, I think it's Moffenzeef module called Simplify. And what I'm doing now is instead of just running a straight clock into the triggers here or the gates, basically I'm running the clock output of the waveguard into the Simplify, and then coming out of that is what's going into the triggers. So that decides when an actual drum sample triggers. What this module does is basically there's a steady stream of clock triggers just going into this module all the time from the waveguard. And what this module does is it has a table of basically binary sequences. I have this module upside down, but basically when it's turned all the way up, every trigger that comes in through it will be erased or like knocked out by a one of the numbers in this table. So it's like, let's say if it's all ones. I think the table goes in either 8 or 16 steps. I think it's 16 steps. So when it's all the way to the right, let's say everything is a 0, which means for every 16 triggers, none of them will play. None of them will come out. We're basically erasing all of them. And then as you turn this knob in this direction, you're gonna change to a different entry on that table where slowly, okay, now here's a single 1 in that sequence of zeros. Here's 2 ones in the sequence of zeros. Here's 3 ones. And I think as you scroll through that table using this knob, that chunk of basically triggers that will be negated as they go through this module is shifted over. So it's like it's increasing by one number and then shifting over. So what that allows you to do is keep playing the same sequence in here, but and the same actual, set of triggers is playing into here, but what's coming out of here is going to be less. And I think that was in the description of this module on the website where I bought it. It had a description that said something about the hardest thing in eurorack is to make a module stop doing something, which I think is true. So this is just stopping some of the triggers from going through. So as we turn this, right now the clock is playing in here, and this output here is going into the triggers on the wave bar. So as we turn this, we should just get one trigger. There we go. Some hat, little hat. Okay, and then as we turn it more, we're going to get more of those triggers. Okay, and then we'll get some more. Okay, and then as we go, so this is maybe half the triggers are getting canceled, the other half are coming through, and then by the time we get all the way to the other side, we're letting every single trigger, every single gate pass through this module without stopping any of them. So then that'll be a full sequence with no breaks. So as we go over here, let's hear what that sounds like. There we go. Okay. So this is nice though, because you can leave the CV sequence alone and just kind of modify it on the fly, and you'll get weird results just kind of twisting it as the sequence plays, because you'll be like activating and deactivating parts of that sequence as it plays. Okay. I love this. This, to me, I think they could probably work this in to a firmware update or something if they wanted to, because basically this could be done internally here by any of the knobs if they wanted to update the firmware that way. But for right now, this is great. It's a small module. It fits in this like super shallow little case, so I'm happy with this. This is working good for me. Just to go over the rest of the patch, the way that I usually use the wavebard is to have the CV is going into the sample selection. I think that's kind of the standard. The LFO, the wave output of the LFO is going into the note input, which changes the pitch if you have this pitch mod knob adjusted. And then we have the, there's basically like a gate version or a square binary version of the LFO that is available as a second output. So that's coming out and going into the length input. And that just makes it so that you can add another layer of sort of like rhythmic variation to it. Which is nice because it's all internal. So using the internal LFO on the left-hand side of the knob, left of 12 o'clock, you're getting tempo synced LFO rates. And then on the right-hand side of 12 o'clock, you're going to get free-running LFO that is not synced to the clock. So if I usually use it on this side, so it is tempo synced. But if you find something that's not directly like, so we can kind of hear this. So when we turn the length down, you'll hear what this is doing more because this is modulating that length. It's subtle, but it's a lot better than listening to a kind of unmodulated series of samples for a long time. Anyway, so this is that's the Simplify, that's the Citadel. That's how they work together.